Hi friends! Today in this video, I'll tell you why I stopped doing manifestation practices. I stopped visualizing, I stopped entering the state of a wish fulfilled, working with intention. Basically, all those practices, specifically manifestation. For wish fulfillment, I just stopped doing them. And now I'll share my experience of how this transition happened, why it even occurred, and why it's inevitable for everyone growing in this field. And if you feel that you're also tired of practices somewhere, then you're in the right place. Anyway, it all started when one morning I woke up and I couldn't enter the state of a wish fulfilled, like usual. Like you start the mental image and everything works just fine. That morning I couldn't. For 5 minutes, I felt like every thought from the past year just gathered in one spot and was attacking me. For 5 minutes, I tried to do something with them. Usually it worked, but that morning, nothing worked. I got tired of that struggle. And I just stepped out of that practice state and didn't even finish it because I couldn't even enter it, that practice. And basically, from that morning, I didn't know it then, but it all began. And the first thing I realized was that we can create our reality from different levels, that is, from different layers. And look, to make it clear, there's the first level, the very first one, which is the sleeping people who believe in fate and that they have no influence. They're basically not interested. They just live how they live. The second level is the level of magic, right? Those people who think and believe that if I want to fulfill a wish, I need to go to some mage, witch, sorcerer, or shaman to have something done for me. The next level is the one I was on, right? The one we've been developing on together for some time. It's the level of practices, manifestation practices, meaning visualization, working with intention, state, and so on. That's also a level. Guys, I'm not saying manifestation practices don't work. They do work. They really all work. Take tram surfing, Neville Goddard. Any practice, it'll work. It's just that for you, some might work and some might not, but overall, the practices are all effective. The thing is, why did it stop working for me? Because I've already outgrown that level. Oh, some mysterious black cat just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Anyway, the next level is actually the level where you no longer practice anything to manifest what you desire. You just make a choice, right? Like a vector, choice, intention. You set a vector. You set what you want to manifest and just stay in presence, in silence, as they say, and don't stop reality from giving it to you. Meaning being in trust, like we've talked about many times, where you go into your practice in the morning, right? Meditated on your desire, and that's it. You let go, you're in trust, and so on. But here is the level where you're also in trust. You don't control or check, you've chosen, and you do nothing. You don't do any practice. You just stay in presence. And this is what I've started doing as well. I won't share the results it's already brought today, but if you're interested, let me know in the comments, and I'll definitely make a separate video on the results, what came true, how it happened, and so on. But today is specifically about this method, the method of being in presence. It's when you do nothing, not even trying to enter presence, because when you try to tune into presence, to enter presence, that's already a practice in itself. But to really start being in presence, well, here's the thing. You don't actually have to do anything at all, naturally, because you are always already existing within this presence. You just don't always realize it, and to start realizing it, you need practices. But practices that lead you, to remembering this point, right, of presence. Because presence, guys, isn't just being in the present moment. It's much deeper than that. Because the present moment is when you're doing something, trying to gather information through your senses, like what I see or what I hear. It won't get you there. It might be an entry point into presence, but it won't provide the depth that presence does. What is presence? It's not I am aware, but awareness simply is. You don't try to change anything. You don't try to get rid of thoughts when they come. You can be doing something. You don't necessarily have to sit in a meditation pose. None of that is necessary. Presence is simply awareness being. It's a much deeper level. I know it's very hard to describe with words, but I wish for everyone to feel it, because what happens at this level? When you enter this presence, when you come into contact with it, Your mind calms down, silence emerges, and you enter a state of clarity. Right, the mind that's always solving things, worrying, controlling, with fears, programs, limitations, which are distortions of your actual desires. It seems like I want a house, I want to travel, but in reality, you might just want, I don't know, a family, children, and so on. Not all of that. And when you enter presence, you abide there. All these distortions, all these illusions and fears, they just fall away. None of that exists there. You come into contact with a certain state. That's not quite right, but just to make it understandable for the mind. Calm confidence, silence. In presence, you sort of step out of the role. I'm a person, I'm like this, I'm successful or not, rich or poor, I'm succeeding or failing. You step out of all that, into a 0 point, a kind of reset. And in this silence, you've calmed down, and then you've already chosen, right? The vector, your intention, what you want to manifest. Just once. You don't need to visualize it every time. Just write it down once, or simply say it. I choose to manifest all of this. Next, you're in presence and in allowance. You're allowing reality to give to you. What's actually happening? When you're in presence, you don't interfere with reality. You don't shake it up. With your doubts, what if, how will it work out, what if it doesn't, is something wrong with me, am I not smart enough, good enough, rich, happy, beautiful, and so on. And in this presence, all of that falls away because our desires, we feel like we need to do something specific right now, to get it. But there, you don't need to do anything. And the first thing we realize there, remember, where the clarity comes in, is not what to do, but what to stop doing. What action, one or several, do you need to stop doing? So what do you need to do to stop blocking reality from giving you your desire? Because we are inherently so incredibly powerful in our very own fundamental nature that it's enough to just choose, I want this, and simply allow reality as the absolute I am to manifest it. Do you understand? But often, what do? We interfere. We interfere with our fears, doubts, and limitations. So, my friends, if you feel like you're tired of practices, that there's something deeper, everyone feels this intuitively. It's just that often we say, well, how else? Everyone says it's only this way. And again, if you feel on the contrary that you still need practices and you want them, then stay with them. It's not good or bad. I'm not saying don't do manifestation practices. I'm sharing my experience because it's inevitable. Growth is inevitable when you're evolving in this. Yeah, so it's like inevitable, but there are layers. And through this presence, it'll also be like a side effect. You also enter into the realization of yourself as the absolute. Yeah, so that's an even higher level, but to live in sync as both the absolute and the human, it's enough to be in this presence, in this awareness of being. There are certain practices you can and should do to reach this level. So if you feel drawn to this, if you feel it resonates, go first to my open Telegram channel. I'm there now, writing some posts where I explain things more deeply. Using examples, I answer questions about this presence, because for many, it's new and confusing. And it's actually really hard to explain with words, so I'll wrap up this video. I'll share more, deeper, and more detailed tips in the open Telegram channel. But if you already get what it is and you're interested in entering it, learning it, remembering it, then join the private Telegram channel, because that's where we start working with it, the actual entry. Because look, presence isn't a practice, it's already a state of being. But to remember this beingness, you have to turn off the autopilot, because the autopilot, our reactions, that we trigger automatically through thoughts, feelings, and actions, is exactly what stops us from creating what we want and from letting reality give to us. And when we are in presence, the automaticity turns off, meaning we stop being programmed biorobots there. And it doesn't matter how long you've been programmed, even for 100, 500 years. There, in presence, you enter a silence and clarity from which a new reality begins to unfold. A new branch, your new desires, and so on. And so, if you want specific practices for those who need them, starting January 3rd, we'll have a marathon where for 7 days straight, we'll take specific actions. Each day, in order to step out of automaticity, right, meaning preparation and presence, and after that, we will actually enter into presence. And then you have the remembering of yourself in the absolute. Anyway, guys, this is that level. I'm sharing the experience I'm going through now for several months already. I just haven't had the right words to somehow convey it, to frame it. Because when you start simply abiding in presence, it's hard to describe in words because it's not a practice. It's not a state. It's the point from which the present moment unfolds. You see, what we called the present moment, it's even deeper. But what's very comfortable and what I like here and I feel in my element now is that I don't have to strain. I don't have to visualize every time. It wasn't enough for me to choose once, to set the vector, the intention of where the energy should flow, and then you just live your life, being in presence or not being in presence during the day, it doesn't matter. When I started reaching this level, I'd still spend 15 minutes a day, sometimes 5 minutes a day in the morning or midday, entering this presence, intentionally entering so my body and mind could get used to it, my avatar, because at first it was very difficult. So these are entry points, but they don't require constancy, doing it all the time. You train once, and then you just remember, you unpack this natural state of yours, your natural being. There is awareness in which you simply are. You don't analyze there, you don't try to remove any thoughts, you clearly focus your attention only on the desired. That's not there. You just realize everything, but you don't get involved anymore like an automatic reaction, so you don't dive into it. And it's very, very cool. It's very easy. It's, compared to the previous level where you try, visualize, force yourself, work, that's great. But at this level, you don't have to do anything. Just allow. Just allow reality to give, to manifest through you, and don't interfere with your thoughts, your anxiety, or anything else. And so you kind of take from this presence the state of peace, tranquility, and silence, and just live your life, do things, and you see how your behavior, habits, and words change. So a shift occurs, right? And it leads exactly to the reality you chose, where your desires already exist, to that branch of reality where the new you is already living the life you're only thinking about now. So guys, if this resonates with you, welcome, join us in the public Telegram chat. There's a lot, and we'll continue to unpack this topic even more.